Hello from somewhere in space. I'm Odysseus, but friends call me Audie. Though they don't actually, but I like you to. uh, Today I bring some exciting news. The first bit of it is that I have no idea when I am. Not only am I not sure what era or century or millennia, but the day night cycle here is not the same as Earth. I can barely count cards in Old Maid, let alone track minutes that have passed. Um, Time's kind of gone a little shaky on me, I guess. um, the port that I have that connects my files on my desktop, it doesn't really show time, and most things in it are broken, so I don't really have a correlation. I guess you could count that as interesting news part two. Anyway, part three is that I know where the Pokeboys are from. I've marked it on the map here, but they're mostly hiding in Pod F on the station. I don't have hard evidence of that, but the lift's moving is visible on the outside, like a space station stereotype. Lift activity is really busy on that pod, especially around the middle sections. Of course, bad news is there's a fair few of them. Hopefully I can peace with them before I finish exploring the rest of the place. On that note, though, exciting news 4 is that Pod E is very mysterious. Like more than the others. It's basically a huge metal tube with barely any windows, but the light in there is always turned to 11. Exciting news 5. I found two skeletons that I've had the time to actually inspect. The first one's like the most common one, which I will be temporarily naming the Roddy or Polari area. No, Polari seem to be uh, fairly human, except for the head. The head's kind of like this flat and round and tilted forward. It's like a sunflower, but without petals. In the center of it, there's this massive hole. It's very round, but its placement kind of implies a mouth. I not an eye, which was my first guess. Instead, there are four sockets at the top, the sides, and the bottom of its head, sort of like an ocular hat, ears, and soul patch. Thus the name for the Polari, with the eyes and the polar bits of the face. Skeleton 2 took me a long time to figure out, but it's not as common as Polari by far. These guys I'm calling mystery chimes. Their bones are all over the place, like these little abstract lengths of wildly bent bone. But at the end where sockets would be, were instead little holes that were connected to each other by a sort of thick red thread. Uh, it, it took me a long time to muster the courage, but I ended up picking up a bone that looked like the most central bit. It was a sort of ball cluster, and an interesting thing happened when I pushed the bones together along the thread. Rather than sliding along the thread, it bunched and twisted and expanded, basically solidified the connection. And so I tried a few more. The red thread inflation, awesome band name, did deflate slowly, but it worked long enough. My theory is that the nexus is all of the central organs, including the brain. The rest of the body is actually just thread and bone. Sick band name too. The thread functions as joint and muscle, artery, nervous system, probably sensory organs too. It's essentially they're functioning on turtling the threads inside their bone bits, moving sort of uh, like a slinky and a tumbleweed getting frisky in a dryer. Exciting news, the 8th. I'm testing out other rooms. Okay, I'm scared to go back to the captain's room, actually, but after the tall shadow boy fallen back, so now I'm moving rooms randomly. It's weird because it feels like they're both scared of me and looking for me. Anyway, exciting news, the 8th. I have mostly figured out the slates, meaning I only need one, not 14 now. The key is that they're kinetically managed. Like, while they're shaped like a phone, instead of like scrolling, you flip it in a direction. So if you hold it kind of halfway, the screen shows what is on the next menu option, but it's mostly memorization. There has to be a better trick to it. Otherwise, it works well enough. I just get stuck flipping it lengthwise, left and right, up 3 times, only to find out that it was 2 times and just reboot the slate. But I have changed the noise it makes because evicting Oscar the Grouch was a great sound setting. I only have limited access, as I'm not registered with the ship. So I have a sightseer tour view. But I noticed, basically, that every image is human. All of them are overacting humans. All the ads, the housing brochures, all of it. My guess is that it's really targeted marketing. I assume there's just so many actors in space, they have enough to do every species. And in their marketing campaign, it just they just fit it to the recognized species of the viewer of the ad. So like Blade Runner shit there. Anyway, it got me thinking about another story idea as I was walking through the hallways, sort of something to occupy my mind as I turned down every room. Oh, I should say, I'm being very thorough. Every drawer, under beds, closets, a lot of dead bodies, and uncomfortably haunting still lives. Still not over the freezer incident. Anyway, the idea is, okay, don't laugh. Stock photos are alien memes. Oh, I hadn't said that out loud yet. All right. So now, this is like a working theory of reality, and the idea for an ARG, an alternate reality game. Google it. Basically, a series of social media accounts from all the major social media platforms will just begin to pop up. So far, pretty standard. These accounts are creative types and businesses focusing on stock photography. These people are most obviously marketing accounts. They give out free samples of photo sets and they interact with fans. And each of these accounts work for a website that deals in stock photo distribution. And this website's claim to being different is that they're aware of how wacky stock photos are, and they provide just that service. However, it's really just Imager for aliens. They exchange photos of silly humans doing overly human things. Each photo or photo set a mockery of humanity in general. The website is a host of alien memes about humans. The aliens are really just having fun playing with humans and enjoying the folksy rural atmosphere to them slash us, and they just love mocking how extra and zany as humans can be. However, each photo set and each account releases a certain amount of keys occasionally. These keys are for logging into a premium VIP special sort of area of the website. These keys can be hidden in many things, including visual puzzles. Puzzles hidden in the shot, and word puzzles and photo titles. A lot more. This creates a bit of a bottleneck rush with each key release, allowing more players to fully experience the concept of discovery and getting in. It's a small experience. So keeping the amount of access limited is essential for keeping interest. Anyway, players are then let into a sort of they're given a small window into an alien serving side of the internet. However, they are clearly in quarantine, as many bits are visible, raising a lot of questions as to what they lead to, and but they're locked off to players. In this quarantine, they have a chat area that lets them talk with aliens in a more candid manner, and to be subjects of a little internet-based human petting zoo. The aliens adore how cute humanity is. Rolling back to the puzzle part of it, they could be implicative of the alien biology or psychology. Maybe scripts that read in circles rather than lines, fitting up to the Polari eye setup, where you read the passage around in short corner bursts, and passing eye responsibility between them as they go. Meaning, puzzles would have additional factor of being physically different to read, in addition to being in a cipher. It's not a massive change, I guess, but it is an interesting space to explore. That, or maybe they like read the outside edges in, reading a straight line across and then a straight line down, so it kind of looks like a pyramid from above. And they must have really cool poetry structure, like long lines at the top that steadily get shorter. Either way, it leads to some meaningless garbage jargon captions and tags. And, I guess it's really all I have for this. Like I said, it's a small experience, really more about the interesting potential for commentary and comedy, in my opinion. Anyway, that was it for me. I'd like to credit this bagel for letting me talk to it to get my thoughts out. Please like, share, subscribe, all that business, and go make an ARG. And if I see an insect-themed puzzle run, I'm coming back to Earth and taking all the Google out of your googly eyes.